Hello, angels. So tonight's video is going to be a little different. It's something that I am starting. I'm going to be doing it twice a week. I haven't decided a name. I've come up with a couple, but it's going to be a time for me to discuss a topic about my life, whether it's my addiction, my sexual assaults, my time when I was being sex trafficked, my time as a child and what I endured with my family, all different areas of my life that I guess in a way I'll be unburdening my soul to you. It'll be the first few videos. I'll choose the topics until I start getting a regular following and you guys start asking me questions. And there's nothing off the table here. You can ask me whatever you want. I would like you to help me find a name that I could call it. I have a couple that I've been thinking about. But it'll be twice a week. It'll be the same time, the same day, which I will let you know in the video. And it will be about subjects that are very difficult for me, but I think are very important to bring to light, to bring awareness. So if there is a topic you want to talk about, you want me to talk about, something that has to do with my own life, something to do with your life, anything you want me to talk about, or if you can help me figure out a name, like one of them I thought about was Tough Tea Talk with Mamabear. I don't know. You guys help me figure it out. So that's what tonight's video is going to be about. So if you would like to be a part of that, would like to know what I will be discussing tonight, which will be a mixture of things since it's the first video, I hope that you will join me and will come along with me twice a week as I have these chit chats. So let's get started. So for those of you that are new here, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Kat. Most of my people, my friends and people that are close to me call me Mama Bear. My vlog, my channel is very diverse. It's about the next year of my life and what I am striving to do, a book I'm writing, where I want to be. I have a special needs child. I have a lot going on with him. I will post the link below, my first vlog and my I'll put in the updated version that explains all that. So this, I decided that I'm not talking enough in my channel about things that I've been wanting to bring awareness to that have been important to me. This channel is about everything that's going on in my life, but the whole point of my channel was meant to be about my son and his special needs, about addiction and sexual assault, and to bring awareness. And I still, I talk about health and fitness, and I have some cooking channels in there. It's just a little bit of everything, but I want to start talking more about the things that I went through my life and start bringing awareness, and hoping that you guys will connect with me and comment and ask me questions, and just, I want this to be an open communication to, and as long as it's respectful, not just for me, but there's a lot of people that will come and they will be triggered by this content and they don't need any negativity. So I won't tolerate anyone being disrespectful or mean or cruel or anything like that. This is a safe place for people to talk. So today's video, I'm just going to put a whole bunch of subjects on the table. So if you want to take a minute, go grab your tea or coffee, because I do both. That's the other thing. I figure twice a week, the same time, the same 2 nights every week. Let's say, well, today's Monday night, so let's say every Monday night and every Thursday night. It's 8 o'clock. So every Monday and Thursday night at 8 o'clock, this is where I'll be. Okay? I'll upload it at the same time. I figure I go back and forth between tea and coffee. So how about we try a new tea or a new coffee every video? Sound good? Tonight I am drinking, actually I have both. I have my tea and my coffee. My tea is the pomegranate hibiscus, and my coffee tonight is, I think it's called Butter Crunch. So there's a lot of things that I want to, and I'm so sorry about the video. I'm in a dark room. I kind of wanted it to be intimate, so maybe I'll see if that helps. Is that a little bit better? Okay, so we will talk about an array of things. My childhood and how it kind of formed me into the person I became in my teens. How I became an addict. Some experiences of me being molested, raped, and eventually sex trafficked. I won't talk a lot about my children. I will talk about Aislinn and his special needs, but for personal reasons, for now, I'm going to leave my other children out of it. Besides, this channel is mostly always been about me and my son because of what I went through and because of his special needs. That's the whole reason why I made this channel. We'll talk about how I got where I am today and about my book and where I want to be in the next year. So I guess tonight we will start with my childhood. Now, in a previous video, I had spoken. So in a previous video, I had talked about the first molesting event when I was 6 years old. So that became kind of the lead off point to me acting out, lying, just becoming a very confused little girl. So it wasn't long after that I had started. I'd always, because I was neglected so much, especially by my mother, who I lived with. It was just me and my mother, my 2 older brothers. She was always very much, and still, and remained this way until our adult years, my brothers were always the center of her world. So I was very close to, I'd always been very close to my oldest brother, especially because he's the one that took care of me for a long time, in a matter of speaking. So I pretty much followed him everywhere after that. Him and his best friend. He became my hero in a lot of ways. So we eventually left there. I have two little brothers who lived with us for some time, but then my dad came and took them. I had gone back and forth between my mother and father a lot over the next several years. I wanted my dad to protect me. I wanted to feel safe. My mother never gave me the time of day. Even after this happened, she never called the police or nothing. She said she did. It wasn't until when I was 27 that I found out from my oldest brother that the police were never called. She just swept it on the rug. She didn't want people to think she was a bad mother. So I went back and forth between my parents a lot. I was being neglected by my mother, and my father was very, very, very strict, him and my stepmother. So it was very confusing for me. The next main event I remember was when I was 8, and it was a friend of one of my older brothers. We had moved to a place in Port Perry, and this house was amazing. It was so beautiful. It was over 100 years old, and it was very it was like way back in all these trees. It was up on this big hill, and it was surrounded by these trees, and then there was a big old forest where my brother would build forts all the time, and we had a huge lawn that we would rake leaves all the time and jump at them. And down the street, my mother sent me. I never had any friends. There was one girl that I finally befriended that lived across the street, and down the end of the road there was like a little youth place where we would go, and I guess for us to get away, for our parents to get away from us, whatever, where we would go and do ceramics. And I remember our favorite song then that we used to listen to all the time at this place was Twisted Sister, We're Not Gonna Take It Anymore. And I remember loving that song, and I remember those lyrics. I wasn't gonna take it anymore, but of course I did. I ended up really, that was the one place that I really ended up feeling somewhat like I fitted in, you know. I really had a lot of fun there. So one day, I'm laying on the couch, and I'm watching cartoons, and it wasn't very often my brothers were ever home. They were always with their friends. They were always outside playing, and the only time they ever came inside is if it was raining or if it was really snowing blizzard out there, which I think this was around winter time. I honestly can't remember. That's the other thing. There's a lot of misconception with assault victims, with trauma victims. Well, how can they forget this and that? What you have to understand is the act itself, we don't forget. Some of us may, because the trauma is so severe, it's the brain's way of coping. But for some of us, it's the environment and the little details around it that we don't remember. Like, I don't remember what season it was, what month it was. I don't remember, if it was Christmas, or I don't even remember where my mother was. She was never there when I needed her, I know that. But as far as the acts itself, I remember every single man or boy, person that had ever hurt me. I remember how I felt. I remember what they did. I remember the fear. I remember the pain. I remember all that. It's the outer details that we don't always remember. And that's typical of trauma victims. I'm laying on the couch watching cartoons, and my brother and his friend come in, and there was always something about this friend I didn't like. I mean, by this point, I felt very uncomfortable around boys anyways, but he was a heavy-set boy, and he had dark curly hair, and he smelled weird, and I felt dirty and uncomfortable around him. I remember that. So him and my brother came and sat on the couch with me. I was laying down with a blanket on top of me watching cartoons. And I will, whenever I talk about anything to do with my past, I will never mention names. Okay? Legal reasons. So, we're laying there watching cartoons, and all of a sudden, I felt a very cold hand slide under my blanket. I remember having my little shorts and a t-shirt on, and he had moved my shorts and my underwear aside and stuck his fingers in me. I remember the pain. I remember the fear. I remember freezing in fear. I even remember thinking, what was happening? Why was this happening? Why did this keep happening? I didn't know if it was normal. I was so confused. But, and unless you've been there, I don't think that you could understand this. But in a way, I didn't like what he was doing to me, not for 1 second. But I liked that somebody was paying attention to me, because that was something I never really had. My mother was never affectionate. She was never one to say, I love you, ever. No, I don't ever remember my mother ever saying those words to me. I don't ever remember her hugging or cuddling me. I know, I always knew my mother didn't call the police that first time, because I remember talking to the next door neighbor, the uncle that lived there. It was his nephew. I remember talking to him. I remember being at the kitchen table with my mother talking to him. But I never remembered seeing police. As a child, you would think you would remember that. You would remember police coming to your home and talking to you and having a special worker come talk to you and talking to your parents or your mother. Or I think I would remember even one moment of that, and I didn't. No one ever knew that this happened to me. I just didn't feel like it mattered. I didn't know if it was normal or not, but no one ever did anything. So who was I going to tell? I think that's when I really started to act out. Especially when we eventually moved to a place called Dunsford. For those of you who live in Canada, you may have heard of it. It's a small town outside of Lindsay. There's a lake called Sturgeon Lake, and there we had a big marina called Sturgeon Lake Marina. We moved there when I was about 11, I think. By that time, I was a really messed up little girl. And Dunsford is where I would say, as far as being a child, was the worst I had endured. Not just being sexually abused multiple times, brothers, friends, family, friends, strangers, but I was so badly bullied in school that I was suicidal. So after the one when I was 6 and then the one when I was 8, those were the two main ones that had affected me the most. That's when I started to acting out. And my mother told me that, and I think she was talking from the time I was a small child up until this time and a little later, when we were in Dunsford. But she said that I was a terrible child, that I, what'd she say, ruled the roost, whatever. I can't remember exactly how she said it, but I'm sure you guys have heard that. But my biggest question for her was, did she ever wonder why? I mean, it's bad enough that you didn't call the police, that you didn't think your baby girl was worth protecting. And the times that happened after this, even before the one I just told you when I was 8, she knew about them and did nothing. She even left me. It wasn't long after the first time it happened that she left me again with another boy the same age as the nephew. So obviously she didn't care, because she kept leaving with me with these people that she didn't even fucking know. But she never got me into counseling. She never got me help. She never took me to a doctor to make sure that I was okay. And you wonder why I acted out so much as a kid. I mean, by the time I was 11 and 12, I was literally dressing up like, at that time, that was when Madonna had become really famous. And she had like the teased hair and the nylon stockings and the lots of makeup and like all that. And that's how I was dressing at 11 and 12 years old, going to public school like that. No shit, I was being bullied. So you never thought that And I was abusing my animals. I was so full of rage. By the time I was about 12 and 13, I was so full of rage. I was abusing our animals. I would get so mad at the smallest things, and I would throw them across the room. And like today, I advocate for animals' rights. It kills me that I used to do that. But as a child, if that's not a cry for help, I don't know what is. So I didn't want the videos to last this long. And I know that I'm kind of jumping back and forth a bit, but this is the first video, and I just kind of wanted to give you an idea of what I want these videos to be like. And again, if there's anything that you guys want me to talk about, I'll be talking about a little bit, not everything, just bits and pieces of what I wrote in my book, instances throughout my life. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm not the only one. There are hundreds of thousands of hundreds of thousands of hundreds of thousands of others like me. Women, men, children who are going through this. And I want them to know that they are not alone. That you are not alone. That I know what you're going through, what you've been through. And I still go through it every day. I'm not, you never get over it. I mean, that's not true. Eventually, you learn, I don't think you ever get over it, but I think you learn to cope with it. But I've never been able to get the help that I really needed. So I've always been alone for the most part, even when I was living with my mother, who that's a long video, like a few long videos. She's the main reason that my life turned out the way it was. I made my own choices, but she played a lot of the cards. I've been married 3 times, and all my marriages were volatile. The last one, he destroyed me almost as much as when I went through being sexually abused. Anyways, there's a lot I want to share. I want you guys to know that you're not alone, that you can share anything you want in the comments, and if you need to, you can message me privately. I have a long way to go, but I've also come a long way. And I just want to be a beacon of light for others. And I am all for advice, constructive criticism, anything you want to share. If there's something you want me to talk about, if there's research you need me to find out, that you'd like me to find out for you, if you need help and you need someone to help you find that help, whatever it is, I want these 2 nights a week to be a safe place for us to just talk about whatever it is you guys want to talk about. Okay? So we'll leave that for now. I will see you Thursday night at 8 o'clock. And I really hope that you will be there. I really hope that you will like this video. That you will, if you're not subscribed, that you will. That you will hit the notification so it can be a reminder for all my other videos that I will be uploading. If not every day, at least every other day, depending on my little man. but it will always be at least every other day I will be uploading. Sometimes I post a couple times a day. Please share this. Please share this so others know that there is a place that they can come where someone understands what they're going through, what they've been through, and wants to be there for them. Okay? I love you, angels. I'm here for you, always. I'll leave some links to the description below, including my updated vlog about where I want to be in the next year and pretty much why I'm doing this channel. And there's a link to my book about my ADHD son. If you have a child that's ADHD, maybe that could be helpful for you. And a link to my Twitter and Instagram, where I post a lot. I advocate a lot. Be safe, be happy, be good to each other. Love you guys. See you soon.